son, Raw.
Fox Sports Pueblo,
They live on Amherst.
1350. This is the John Wristen, Jim Brooks, and Joe Cervi, along with CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves head coach John Wristen.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the Car Pros John Wristen Show. Yeah, give the coach a big hand there. He deserves it. Moving into no-lose November after a successful Packtober. And now it's we're come to this point, John, where it's kind of like all the marbles are. You're all in. You're pushing everything all in for this weekend. You played some great hands. The last 6 hands have been beautiful. Now we're ready to go all in.
We're trying to get to that table with 28 other players in it, and so, but you know, we had a great senior day to honor those 19 seniors that were able to walk through, and we honored them with the way we played and the passion we played with, and I thought it was really an outstanding day.
I would argue that the first quarter and a half of that game was the best football you played this year.
Well, it was sharp, and you know, we defensively we played you know, suffocating defense that we were able to add pressure, and we tackled well, and you know, that offense is top 10 in the country.
Yes,
right?
It is.
And we were able to find a way to shut them down. I thought our defensive coaches, Levy Suano and Kendrick Van Akkeren and Randy Pagano and Herm Smith, and all those guys did a great job of coming up with a plan to corral that quarterback and those receivers and be able to really make them one-dimensional. And they were never, ever really able to run the ball.
And that big number 94 had a lot to do with that in that first half. I mean, Momar Fall, that might be the best half of football he's played since he's been here.
It has been the best half he's played, and so let's continue to build on it. And you know, when he has 3 sacks like that, our defense put him in the right position, and he and Bots and Roby are having some fun now in that front.
Well, you mentioned it's senior day, it was, and you start off, you have Bingham, the senior, scores a touchdown. Max Fine, great catches, beautiful game. Hunter Roque, the senior. I mean, Bots, Fall. Every one of your seniors had awesome days, it seemed like.
Yeah, I thought,
and that isn't always the case. Sometimes you got too many things going on. You're a jumbled up mess because you got to worry about everything. But it seemed like they had laser focus.
Well, I tell you, Thursday night is when we usually do our talk about, you know, the game and try to keys to victory and making sure that it gets done. And our seniors spoke, and it was really passionate. And I thought that our kids responded to that, and they came out and played, and we just that momentum, kind of the ebbs and flows were in CSU Pueblo's way that day, and so it was good.
What I thought was, you know, we talked to Nick Bingham after the game on the post game live from the field, and he deferred to the coaches and his teammates, just like a true senior would. And I thought that he spoke so eloquently. You know, he's from El Paso. I thought he was going to talk, you know, like a Texan, but he was like, but I just love the way that after a day that he had, the last time he'll ever play on this field, how he just said that it was really a great way to go out, but it wasn't a great way for him. It was a great way for you all. And I just thought the way he stepped up and spoke about that, I just thought was tremendous.
Yeah, I you know, to that kid's credit, I mean, we got a stable back there, a pretty decent, talented backs, and you know, he hasn't been able to get the ball as much as he wanted, and I know that he's checked his ego and gone to work, but it's also hurt him a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure it has.
And he's never pouted. He's never done anything except support the team and gone to work and being the hardest working guy out there. And you know, he's going to continue to get some carries and as we go through this November. And I'm looking for him to, you know, we might have to ride him Saturday. We might have to do that. Who knows? But Nick Bingham's a true Thunderwolf. I mean, through the bottom of his sole of his shoes to the top of his hat, he's truly a guy that is embedded in this program by the way he works, his attitude, and checking his ego at the door. I couldn't ask for a better guy.
Well, he got a lot of time. I don't know if it was at Austin Bacher's expense. Why don't you tell us? We didn't have the word. Was he hurt, or was that a coach's decision, or what was why didn't Austin not play?
I think Austin could have played a little bit. He was having a little injury problem, and we just thought that we'll see where we go with this and keep him in our hip pocket if we need it. He could have played.
Emergency break glass situation. But when Bingham plays that good, it's like, okay, dude, keep going out there.
Well, we got
any other guys.
We got Jordan Jones and Mariano Camp can give us quality minutes.
Sure. And he played awesome.
And Keon and did some good things.
And they all bring something different, which is kind of fun. That you see, we don't even have to look at their numbers now. We know who's in just by the way they run and carry the football. And that's kind of a nice offense or a nice tool for your coaches.
Well, I think you wish you could dictate that all the time.
Sure.
You don't, and you got to respond to what's the blocking. Whether they're moving, is your defense, is your offensive line targeted right? All those things, and then it's their show. And then it's their show to be able to go do that. And they're all very talented, and I think our offensive line have done an outstanding job in this game. And
they're getting better.
We're
and that's
getting
what
better.
You need.
And the thing about putting Sean John out at tackle and Elijah on the right tackle and playing Tristan Rell at the left guard and Ba at the right guard is really giving us some girth and sturdiness, and so those guys have responded to that, and I'm anxious to continue this ride.
It was kind of a change by necessity, but it's turned out to be the right change. And sometimes you're just reaching, aren't you, when you're trying to make moves personnel-wise? Well, I'll do this, I'm going to try that. But this one's really blossomed, hasn't it?
Yeah, we right there, we were trying to figure out who's our best five, right? And sometimes you get tunnel vision as a coach, and so Simon and I talked and kind of opened up some ideas, and we felt like this might be our best five combination, and it happened in practice because someone got hurt or did something. We moved it. Said, boy, that's not bad, and so we kept working on it, and I think Adams was the first time we were able to get their start of the game and be able to do that.
Well, let's go back to the backs. Talk about Bingham. I mean, the first drive of the game, able to showcase his talents. He's your best back coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. That's kind of an art form, isn't it, John, when you run the correct pattern and then have your quarterback hit him in stride like that. The two little routes, one that resulted in a touchdown, the one was a big play to get you a first down.
Yeah, I think that a combination of the routes off that and what we've done off that, and Hunter being able to hit it on time, and the back being in the right spot. Sometimes you cut a little tight. Sometimes you don't cut it right, and you got to have some of that spacing, and you got to have a feel for it. And Nick sure has a good feel for it, and he caught it and got physical right down the sideline, and it kind of sparked us.
And then run it again.
Yeah.
They run the same play the second time in a row, and he scores on it. But that just shows, and we fawn over him in the booth because that's what we do. Because Hunter Roque is just taking it to another level. He has taken not only his game, he's one of the most accurate passers in the nation in terms of pass completions, but he's taken y'all along with him, and it's been a really fun progression to see just him getting better and better, and the offense just getting better and better. Talk about Hunter Roque's play.
Well, I think that as a quarterback, you got to be able to manage the game. You got to learn to take shots when you got to take shots. But I think with Hunter, you got to do what he does well, and I think he throws probably the deep ball as well as anybody we have. Chris Bonner arguably was probably one of the better fade throwers, the 9 route that you got, and being able to do that. But I tell you that Hunter has a chance to throw it in the seams vertically. He throws it on time. But I think it's a combination of the protection has been able to be solid, and then he's taken advantage of great throws, and so. And then you have some pretty talented receivers making some plays, like Cookie set a record, and he had 12 touchdown passes, I believe, in a regular season, and broke Paul Browning's record, and you never thought that might have been broken.
Pretty good player to break. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to break a record, Paul Browning's one of the best ever.
Right. And so, it takes a lot of that to make it work, but Hunter has taken the responsibility on his own and been able, I believe, as a starter, I think he's like 19 touchdowns and 1 interception as a starter. And I think he's thrown over 60% of his completion. But the passing efficiency as a quarterback that takes your completions and your percentage and your touchdowns and your interception, and there's a formula to all that.
Yards per attempt, that's huge too.
Yards per attempt. And I think Braley told me that there's we're throwing a touchdown every 20 attempts.
Yeah.
And that's pretty impressive.
Well, he also averaged 20 yards of 20 yards of pass completion Saturday.
Right.
What comes up? He goes, "How many yards?" I said 300. But he goes, "Well," but he looked at the stats and it wasn't that many completions. It was 20 completions, but it was 20
yards. It's a tough day to throw the ball around,
and
too,
it was
though.
20 yards per completion. You'll take that every day as a former quarterback.
Right. And so Hunter's growth and his maturity, but I think the key was at how he handled the start of the season.
Sure.
When he wasn't the starter and
right.
with those things. And Stevie has a heck of a game versus Midwestern, does a heck of a job, and play one tough number 1 team in the country in Grand Valley. And Stevie did it remarkably well, and tried to make those things happen. And then, we struggled a little bit at Western, and there were some drops there and those things that took place. And then we go to Mines and we're struggling, just struggling, and made a choice, and Hunter kind of lit it on fire and got us going, and so we're feel like it's going in the right direction.
Well, we like to talk about offense, but as we mentioned at the top, defensively, though, just continue to put pressure on the opponent. You're not sitting back anymore, either it was by necessity or just the way the game is going. Now it seems like you're dictating, which is always nice.
Well, I think our front seven is dictating, and our secondary is tied into that. I mean, you got to have coverage so they're holding the ball, and the defensive line's getting there, and then defensive line's getting there a little quick, and then there's I'm throwing it down the seam to Daniel Bone, and it's really team defense to be able to do that. But if you look at our first 4 games and really our first 5 games, and you look at it and you go, boy, we're not playing very fast, and all of a sudden we started gaining momentum. We started being able to take care of it. We started going through that, and so there was a lot of growth in the way you play, and not the scheme, not doing anything else, but the way you go play, and that's defensive football. At Pack football is that you go play fast, and that means your assignment's sound, and you're going to whip the guy in front of you, and that's what we've done.
Well, the confidence thing.
Yeah, and Pack football through since 2008 has been opportunistic defense. And if you go to look at the first page of the NCAA statistics of the top 142 or whatever Division II teams in that top 12 now in turnover margin, turnover ratio, there's the Pack again.
Right.
I mean, and as we've talked about that for a lot of years, as this program goes, as any program goes, you win the turnover battle, you're going to most likely win the game, and you're back up to that ratio where it's just is impressive, and that's we make note of it all the time. The ball hawks are there. Daniel Bone is the ball hawk, but he's the beneficiary of a great pass rush, and the linebackers doing their jobs, and so it all comes together. But you're taking advantage and getting those turnovers that you need to fuel that defense.
Well, I think it's you're doing your job, but you're doing your job. There's a difference.
Sure.
There's a difference right there, and we're playing faster. And all that is a combination of our confidence level that has just really gotten better as we've gone through. And so I think that we understand how to do your job versus just doing your job. And so that means you're targeted right, you're using proper technique, you're playing fast, and you're there to whip the guy in front of you into that gap. And now the kids are feeding off each other, like we mentioned. And so when that happens, you get those stats like we're talking about. Then the stats that I value very much, and I think is one of the best indicators that you could ever have in your program is your turnover margin. And then those are the things where I think we're at plus 10 for the year and 10 games. So that's where we really want to go. We want to make sure we get another possession.
All right, it's Car Pro's John Wristen Show. We are at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. They brought out our refreshments here. We got our
we haven't
main wings,
Caprices, and the boneless mango habanero, and we haven't changed in 6 weeks.
That's right. We're staying the same, baby.
This is Packtober carried over into No Lose November, so the menu has not wavered.
All right, we'll come back after this timeout. We're going to do highlights. If you got a question for the coach, 719-671-7574, 671-7574, or you can tweet Joe. Joe likes to be tweeted.
I'm in the Twitterverse.
He's that kind of guy. So we'll come back after this timeout. Highlights are next. ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House on Fox Sports Pueblo.
And now a look at traffic.
Okay, here we go.
This is the John Wristen Show. Let's join the voices of the pack, Jim Brooks and Joe Cervi, along with CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves head coach, John Wristen.
And welcome back. ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, Car Pro's John Wristen Show. Cast of thousands here, along with myself, Jim Brooks, Joe Cervi, and the head coach, John Wristen. We got all our highlights lined up here. John, let's without further ado, let's just dive right into them. The first drive of the ball. This is kind of nice lately. The offense taking that ball, first drive of the game, going down and scoring, and you do it here with the little wheel route to Bingham. Wristen 10 at the 23-yard line. Straight drop back by Rocky. Here comes pressure. Gets the pass away. Bingham's got it up the sideline. Inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Thunderwolves!
Running again that way.
Well, there was probably an unsung hero, if you didn't see that, was Jace Villalpando. He was running a crosser route, and the linebacker stayed there, didn't know how to fit, and Jace looking for the ball, and he sees us going to Nick, and he turns and make a shielding block. I mean, he didn't knock him out and didn't do anything. But that's the key, and that's the key to execution. Everybody trying to do their job and making sure that you have an opportunity to go score. And that's what happened on that. We had great protection. Quarterback got it on time. And then you do your little bit downfield, and that's what takes place.
Well, you mentioned Villalpando. He's come on, hasn't he? He's didn't start the year in the rotation. He was like the third tight end. He's moved in. Had some attrition in the ball club. He's taken over, and he's right at home now. Actually caught a pass in this game. We'll talk about that here after you comment on him.
He's a competitor. You know, you don't look like a tight end, but I tell you, he's feisty. He's strong. He's really a physical blocker and does what he needs. And he's been a wonderful addition to our program.
Well, we don't have the highlight queued up, but later in the game, he ran that little. I saw it in the NFL game this week. I can't remember which team it was, but the tight end starts on the right side of the formation, just kind of drags across behind the line. He gets lost. The linebackers don't see him, then he ends up wide open out in the flat.
Yeah, it was a nice job, and sometimes, Hunter did a great job of getting to the ball. Sometimes you get in your sight in your throwing lane, you got to adjust that. And he adjusted, and we were able to get that. That was a big third down conversion in that game.
Right up the sideline. It worked well. And as we mentioned, that's a great weapon to have because tight ends, you love tight ends in your offense, and to have them do that.
Well, we played a lot of, we were able to play some 12 to balance, 12 personnel. That's 2 tight ends, 1 back. And we're able to try to balance things up and make sure that we were able to just try to make sure we could see where the blitz is because they were a blitzing defense, and we're able to get it and get a hat on a hat that way.
Well, our next play we're going to listen to here, this guy, he's got the Pueblo name. He's a Rakowski. He could be right over there with Joe over there in Bessemer there.
That's right.
Grandpa could have worked at the mill, but this guy's had a great freshman season. He gets on the board here. Great drop back by Rocky. Now he rolls left, sets, fires to the goal line. Caught, touchdown! And it is that man, Rakowski. Right on cue.
The little Spitfire out of Loveland, Colorado.
We've been lucky this year, John, on highlighting guys that have just come into the game, and it seems like they come in with a purpose. They call their own number. Hey, I'm coming in the game. Throw me the ball.
Well, it's a great job by our coaches putting our players in those situations. And so the guy who did a really good job on that was Keon Martinez. He was the back that we were trying to break contain, and the guy was really wide, and Keon did a good job of fronting him up to give Hunter enough space to be able to throw. And so we broke contain, and then the design of the route that we kind of did a crossing route, and Zach came from the inside and went all the way out, and Hunter put it on him. And Zach has a knack of catching those big plays, and he's a football playing young man, and I love being around him.
Well, as much as Keon Martinez wants the ball, he doesn't mind pass blocking, does he?
He does a good job. I mean, that was demonstrated on that play right there.
All right, let's move on to our highlights here. We've talked about the plethora of running backs you have. You like me throwing in the old Howard Cosell plethora there. But you go into your back. I guess you got depth charts, and they say, well, he's third, he's fourth. And you got 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, it seems like, with your running backs. And here we go with Jordan Jones getting in the end zone. They give it up the middle to Jones. Big opening. Across the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Thunderwolves! Jordan Jones!
Catch him, Tim. They're not going to catch him.
He does have a little extra gear, doesn't he, John?
You know, it's funny. You wouldn't say he's the fastest guy, but when he's out there, no one catches him.
Kind of like Emmett Smith. Emmett Smith was never the fastest running back, but nobody caught him.
And so, you know, that was coming right off. That was a 85-yard drive, I believe, in 2 plays. Or three plays. I believe. It was 3 plays because the second down, Max, we run a play, and Max, and then the next play, Max play, he goes 60-some yards, and then we got the next play, and Jordan comes in and goes, boop, 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 and then we're in the end zone. I go, well, that's pretty good.
Efficiency.
In 3 plays, we take it 85 yards, I believe it was, and on the drive. And it was just one of those days that it worked for you, and I'm glad it worked, and those opportunities were there, and we made the most of it. But, you know, another great kid is Jordan Jones that has really sacrificed his ego. We've been able to keep him healthy. And, you know, he wants to play more and get the ball more, but when he gets the opportunity, just as a playmaker.
And he's an interesting story.
Yeah.
His background.
He's a guy out of Wheat Ridge, Colorado that really good high school career, but went to the military. And came out of the military and wanted to have a chance to play college football, and came here, and I moved him as a defensive back right away. And about after the first week of spring coach, I'm not a defensive back. I'm a running back. So, and he was good, so I gave him a chance, and he stayed at running back the whole time.
Now, how was that conversation? That was just matter of fact what he said? How was that conversation?
It just kind of
just say that.
Coach, I don't know if I'm a defensive back, you know, the whole bit. And Leo at the time wanted to take a look at him, and I always try to look at those guys over there to see. You know, Finch was could have been a starting running back, and Jake Watcher was in Eric Donnell. You know, all those guys are running backs in a sense, and so. He goes, I'm just not, you know, feeling it over there. And we might have went through all of spring, and then we moved him in the summertime to running back. And he's produced, and he's really a great kid, and we have a really tight relationship.
That is a great story. All right, we're going to move on. We've had some great catches through the years in Thunderwolves football, but this was one of the highlight reel touchdown grabs right here by Max Fine. Fine goes up and makes the catch. Max Fine stuck it. Unbelievable.
You're not going to see as fine a catch as that one. Up over the top, to the top, one-handed grab. Max Fine, touchdown.
This is incredible. The whole to seal the catch, I thought was great, going up over the guy. A spectacular throw, John, because he threw it in the only spot. If he throws it low, it goes right off the defender's helmet or whatever. Not going to get there. Threw it up high. Fine goes up and gets it, and then secures it, and does the Heisman, sticks the landing with the ball.
Well, part of that drive was the part that it was a 7.5 minute drive right there. And we scored 2 other times that I'm still looking for the holding call that they called on that. And so, you get kind of frustrated going back and forth. And so Wilkes sends a play in, and Hunter has a knack and threw it just right where he needed to, like you described, but it was high enough but not short enough, in a sense that he didn't lob it over and he was going to throw, and Max went and got it and just kind of picked it a foot off his helmet, and then he took it with his right hand and saving it, gets both feet down, and then he lands it and goes to the ground with one hand right there, and I go, wow.
Yeah, it was a wow moment for sure.
Wow.
What was that old segment? He got mossed.
Yeah.
that was a Randy Moss-esque pass or reception.
Yeah,
there's no question about it. It was really a great play right there.
All right, we love offense. Offense is sexy, but defense is where it's done. Let's go to the defense with an interception.
Picked off. Back the other way come the Thunderwolves. It's Daniel Bone. It's to the sideline, inside the 40, out of bounds, about the 37-yard off the 30-yard line. He read that beautifully. Center fielder.
The ball hawk, Daniel Bone, that's his fifth interception. He had one last week that was huge against Mesa. Just nose for the football, Daniel Bone.
Well, it was one of the I'm on the headsets. I go, there goes number 2 vertical. I'm going number 2. And I just didn't know whether we saw the adjustment, but Bone baited him. He really baited him he was staying back there deep enough, and KVA said, hey, make sure you stay deep enough so you can do that. And I'm watching the receiver, and he clears the linebacker at the second level, and it's going to be a nice little seam right there. And Bone baited me. he baited me on that. And so when he made that pick, it was a heck of a play. And it's nice to see him play well. I mean, it's fun seeing those Corey and him and Eric Donnell back there. They're having a lot of fun, and they've accepted what's going on, and in a sense of playing their rotation, playing their roles, and boy, they've done a hell of a job.
It took the secondary a few games to catch their footing.
Well, we got banged up the first part of the year,
sure.
And so I just think that combination that we talked about earlier about defensive footballs all starts in the front, and you got to front things up, and has expanded to all that.
All right, let's go back to what is becoming a weekly occurrence. Let's go to the weekly Andrew Cook touchdown.
Back to pressure. They get it. The Cook right side. Great grab. Nice kick grab. Touchdown, Thunderwolves. What a catch. What a run after. What a catch by Cook.
Boy, the start and stop right there, making Adrian Easton just overrun him and then cutting it back into the end zone.
The cutback there, John. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and there was another one of those throws you take for granted, because if you're underthrow it, it's pick six the other way. And Andrew ran a great route. I believe I call him Andrew now.
Cookie.
His Cookie, as he's known in Pueblo, Colorado, as he says. He never was a cookie until he came here. And so he made a nice catch, and then he can run with the ball after he catches it, and he stopped and started and put his head and across the goal line there.
But that Adrian Eastman, he's a good-looking athlete, but you'll take Cookie on a safety any day. And then he broke his ankles.
Yeah, he looked just so chagrined after he went by him.
If that had been on the NBA or on a basketball court, he'd have broke his ankles.
Well, it was just, like you said, he was headed towards the sidelines, kind of stopped and spun around and got in the end zone.
All right, let's go to the last highlight. Now, this was interesting to set this one up. I thought they would just concede the game, John. You know, you're up. They can get the ball back maybe with a few little ticks on the clock, but they say, you know what, we're going to play it out. We're going to take our timeouts. They do get the ball back, but it ends up burning them because your defense is still hungry. Here we go.
Ball picked off. Bone down the sideline. Cuts inside. Touchdown, Daniel Bone.
You roll the dice there, John. It's kind of karma coming back to bite them for trying to extend the ball game, and it got extended.
I don't know all about that, but they were calling timeouts, and we were on the headset, and everybody wanted me to throw it. I said, we're only throwing it on 4th down. Okay, so that led up to that. So we'll take a shot in the end zone. If they weren't called timeouts, I was going to throw it.
I brought that up on the air because Joe had already made his way down and going, you know what? I'm going to run a little play action, take a shot here if they're going to do this.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do it where it's going to stop the clock. You know,
right.
so
makes sense.
Let's do it on the 4th down, and it led to them trying to make some plays, and so they threw that pass, and he made a hell of a play.
My gosh.
I mean, he jumped up there and snagged it out of midair, and I hadn't seen that play in a long time, and it was really impressive for him to do that.
Well, he wasn't about to come out of the game that late in the game as a senior, get the wave. He's going to play it till the end.
Yeah, he's a great run after catch guy.
And so, you know, he kind of gave him the rope-a-dope like he was going out down the sideline, and then he cut right in, and then there was a big collision. I mean, there were linemen going after the lineman right there, and it was funny. Lucas Moran, you see him on tape. He's getting in the guy's grill and going, and his hands are up. He's screaming. He goes, "That's a touchdown! That's a touch!" I asked him on Monday, "What are you doing?" I've never seen him. He goes, "Yeah, I was just screaming it in, and I'm just, that's a touchdown." And it's like he snapped. He just snapped on that. It was like,
but in a good way.
It was really. I thought, holy smokes, what's gone on with this kid? And I thought we got a penalty, and so they gave them a penalty on that. But all I saw was Lucas Moran. His hands were up there, and he's going. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I was letting him know it was a touchdown. It's a touchdown." I go, "Oh my, oh my."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That just shows total involvement, though. You love it.
Oh,
enthusiasm. It makes it fun to play the game. All right, come back after this timeout. We'll get your questions. I got a few of them coming in. I just noticed one coming in. It had our names in there. I didn't get to read it all. It said Brooks and Cervi in there, so we'll find out what that's all about.
And we got the hot mic here at
hot mic. Exactly. So we got all that going your way. So come back after this timeout. Car Pros John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo.
Sports Pueblo,
1:30.
This is the John Wristen Show. Let's join the voices of the pack, Jim Brooks and Joe Cervi, along with CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves head coach John Wristen.
And welcome back, ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, Car Pros John Wristen Show. Question and answer segment. But before we get to that, John brought up a good point during the timeout there. We didn't talk about the fake punt. John, you run a fake punt every year at some point. Has a fake punt ever failed? I can't remember one fail. Well, maybe Joe's saying maybe one has. I don't remember one.
That's Joe.
I know it failed once, but it was a bad spot. I'm trying to, and it was on the road. That's why I wondered.
Must have been the first 2 years.
But it was one of those. Yeah. It was a great call, but it was a long down and distance. So obviously he caught him, but it was a bad spot. I think. I'm trying to remember who ran it, but.
No, we ran it versus Mankato, and it stopped at that one time.
All right.
So then I came back and faked it another one.
Yeah.
Well, this one worked beautifully, and it came at a great point in the ball game to do it, because if there's a chance for momentum swing in the game, you're what, 17-0, or no, 24-7. They get the stop on defense. Hey, they might get the ball, go down, make a game of it, but you sprung it on them, and it was a down and distance, 3rd and 8. You had to have ultimate confidence. Talk about going in, what the dynamics were to that.
We had a proper look, and
so about that, do you come to the line of scrimmage and it's either on or it's not? Is there a code word or okay? We're not going to give. We're not going to give it out.
I said it once on the air.
I know. I'm not going to say it. All right.
I'm sure it's been changed.
It was kind of funny that we're trying to, as I said, they could give us this look, they couldn't give us this look, but this is what I like to do because we got the numbers here to do it. And we usually get to line scrimmage, snap it and go. We don't usually check or do those things. And so we found a way to get it on, and the kids did a great job of their fundamentals of blocking. And you see really Nick Bingham does a good job at that guard, and Scipio comes down and drives him, and then Curtis Luckadu does a nice job of sealing the end, and then Cooch is pinching and hammering and getting away of Chappie. Chappie does a great job of catching it, and it was a nice way to execute a first down and to help move the clock.
Was it called before they went out there?
It was one of those things that we have it if we get the right.
Oh,
look.
okay, yeah. I mean, because that's like you said, you were able to get it on, but that's a hard call to make from the sidelines. And can you imagine the guy saying, "Did he say it was on? Do we do this?"
Oh, I saw the look and I saw the situation and I said,
"Let's see if they do it."
I was yelling and we got it. And, you gotta go for it.
Sure.
All right, let's go to the question and answer segment, shall we? Let's get this one out of the way. It mentions Brooks and Cervi.
Okay. The Jim, Joe, and John, or the Brooks Cervi?
Coach Wristen, a quick comment. I want to name Jim Brooks and Joe Cervi as outstanding announcers who are total professionals and make every game on TV and radio exciting.
That's got to be from my mom.
That's from Denny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was from Susie.
My mom.
But it's from Denny. Thanks, Denny.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Wow, do they watch the same broadcast I watch after the game? I mean, are they really? Have you? Let's have a little higher standard. Okay? Let's have a little higher standard.
The bar at the RMAC's pretty low.
Yeah, we're right.
As far as RMAC,
we're the best road radio crew in the conference.
We're RMAC good.
I think we're the only one now.
Remember when we used to make fun of CSU Pueblo football for being just RMAC good? Your announcers are RMAC good.
Well, we could go honorable mention too, but so let's pick up our standard.
Right? We want to be better than RMAC good.
That's right. We've got the hot mic here, by the way, too. If anyone wants to join in,
I have some hot mic.
If anybody has anything good to say about Joe and me, it's right up here. Okay.
All right. Honorable mention.
Uncle Charlie checking in. He's been absent the last couple weeks, John. I don't know what's been going on. He's been busy.
Charlie.
He's been busy. He wants you to go 1-0 this week. Fingers crossed. Prayers that the stars all align for the playoffs. And I guess, John, the way I analyze it and the strength of schedule and all that stuff, I think the winner of this game is going to find a way to get in. Isn't it that kind of way? I think for sure if you win, you get in. I think Black Hills has an argument to get in. Should they win with their strength of schedule?
I think you're right on. You're right on, and it's both teams playing for a playoff spot.
So they've had a great year. All right, hot mic, we're ready.
Wayne's ready for the hot mic.
Wayne's World.
Okay, I apologize if you addressed this earlier because I'm having a hard time hearing. But that no call of intentional grounding, is there like a rear exit to the tackle box or something? Because I don't think that guy was out of the guard box.
I agree 100% with you, Wayne. I wish I could answer that, but
there's not. There's no like delimited line. Like if you get more than 20 yards back, throw it wherever you want.
No.
So we got hosed.
Oh yeah.
The RMAC referees don't know their geography. Jim, you got to get on them.
I know. It was a home game. Yeah, it was supposed to be a Pueblo call there, right?
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Beat Black Hills. Go Pack.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Well,
good question.
Go ahead.
Let me have a question that I got yesterday that just kind of follows that up.
All right.
You're on this great heater now, win streak. Team's playing better, and it's always easier to correct mistakes or areas of emphasis when you're winning. Is there a certain area of emphasis right now that you, even though you're winning, have to be better at starting now?
Well, I think you got to take advantage of it every point you get a chance. We've missed 2 extra points or 1 extra point and a field goal that should be routine. And our fundamentals of our special teams has to be better and get the attention of that. What happened Saturday is somehow the ball got dropped. It wasn't blocked. It got dropped. So he kicked it.
Kicked a grounder.
And it skipped right in front. And then it hit the lineman and bounced out to the right. And we gave him a easy 7 that way.
What about, just to follow up on that, the one statistic that CSU Pueblo is not good in the country is penalties. Is that circumstance? Because in this last game, they had 2 for 10 yards in the first half, but you ended up with 100 yards of penalties in the game. So is it just circumstance, or is it stuff that you want to just clean up, or?
We'll clean them up, and I think, when you're in tune, you're playing fast, like you said, the first half we only had 2.
Yeah.
And I think we lost our little composure, and we got really 3 baloney acting calls, and we deserved them, don't get me wrong, but we need to be better in our self-discipline to do those things.
Yeah, that was that crazy situation where you had the great punt return by Cook, but then you had a penalty and on top of a penalty and end up net. When you take all the return yardage plus the penalty yardage, it was like you lost 50 yards in field position on the play. So that was a weird one.
You weren't hot on that one, were you?
All right, Ken checking in from Missouri as he does each and every week, and he's dug deep into his toolbox for this question here. He wants to know, what are the worst accommodations you've had since 2008 when you've been on the road, as far as locker rooms and playing service? Well, I can remember the playing service. I was down there at the Meat Institute at Panhandle when the grass was about a foot long. But what would you call the worst? I think it was Mines before Mines did the redo.
You're right on both of those. I think all those are really, you can't do anything with it, and Highlands is a little bit that way too.
But then lest we forget, there are no locker rooms in Gunnison.
Till now,
Yeah.
right? Is that part of the redo there? We're going to have locker rooms
Yeah,
next year?
we're going to have
Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went there to watch a football game there at halftime, it looked like they were looking for orange slices for the soccer team because they were sitting outside.
It was the Brooks crew was supposed to bring it that week, and they forgot.
It was orange slices for everyone.
Right.
All right, thanks everybody for your questions. Come back, we'll talk about Black Hills State. That all comes your way next. Car Pros John Wristen Show here at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House on Fox Sports Pueblo.
CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves football on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350. Let's head to the field and join the voices of the pack, Jim Brooks and Joe Cervi.
And welcome back, ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, Car Pros John Wristen Show, final segment where we preview this week's opponent. And this week it's Black Hills State. And as we mentioned, John, this is just another battle elimination game, I guess you want to call them. We've got a couple of them around the country in this region this weekend, a couple of what I call elimination games, and yours is one of them. Black Hills State started the year 5-0. They were on a great roll. They lost their little backyard brawl. They dropped a couple other games, but they've come back and bounced back, and they're sitting there at 7-3, much improved ball club.
Well, they won their backyard brawl.
That's right. They won that one, but they lost another one. Did they lose to Shadrack?
They lost to South Dakota State or South Dakota Mines, but they beat Shadrack.
No, they beat both Shadrack and South Dakota Mines.
They beat South Dakota Mines, but they lost a game in it. I know. I'm getting it. They had the game against Western 1, right? They were up 21-0.
Yeah.
Let that game and get away.
Right.
And then they lost another game, maybe to Highlands. Maybe Highlands got them.
No.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, Highlands beat them down there. They lost 3 in a row.
A couple of close ones that they got away from. Then Mines dispatched them as Mines does. But those 2 games that they lost, probably they're thinking back, man, what could have been?
Yeah, Josh Bursky's taken this program over. He's learned from Jed Stewart at Lindenwood, who was at UNC. And so, his coaching tree has been able to they know how to do it. They know how to do it. And I have a lot of respect because he's an offensive line coach. Their kids play that way. They're tough. They're disciplined. They're competitive on every angle. But when you turn on the film, you go, these guys are well coached. And there's a reason why they're 7-3. And there's a reason why they're on the top of the conference on defensive statistics. There's a reason why they've done a great job in offensively being able to do that. And so our work's cut out for us to even have an opportunity to go win this game up there. It's a tough place to go play. It's not easy in that stadium, and they're going to be loaded for bear. And their senior day to be able to go do those things. But I'm very impressed with what Josh has done about adding a layer of toughness. Is the number one factor I think about Black Hills right now is they got a little tough factor.
It's going to be a cold weather game too, John. I think that lends itself to being, usually cold weather games are a little closer to the vest, harder to win. It's harder to get separation is what I mean. You're going to have to be more physical and be more patient.
It could be worse, what I'm saying. I think that it's going to be the wind's not supposed to blow. It's supposed to be 35 degrees at kickoff, and so the sun's supposed to be out.
I guess we're lucky we're not playing Thursday. That's when the blizzards hit
tomorrow,
yeah.
Thursday or Friday, a little bit on Friday morning. But I think that we'll get that storm to pass through and be ready to rock and roll.
All right, what else do you look for in their ball club? You mentioned their defense. What do they do defensively that makes you have problems?
Well, they involve these safeties that are really outstanding, and they got this kid named Doodles Quinones, if I can pronounce his right, and I probably didn't do it right. But he's from Cactus High School, and he's about 5'7".
I noticed they got a lot of shorties, John.
And he is a football playing Jesse, and he went to the same high school Preston Guerrero went to.
Okay.
So we had a little connection there, and this kid is absolutely just a football guy, just around making plays. And his brother plays in the secondary also, and he was the RMIC Player of the Week defense. He intercepted 2 INTs versus Adams State last week and helped beat them. So, and their defensive line, number 77, he's really a 6'2", 6'3", about 295, very active. We look at our game last year, and we didn't block very well. I mean, they dominated our guards. It just was trouble, and we didn't play very sharp and fast and needed to. But so they play a really a system where it's not real complicated, and I mean that out of respect, because their kids know what to do and they know how to respond. You just got to out-execute them on it, and I think that's a compliment of their coaching staff.
Yeah, they don't have to junk it up to succeed.
You don't have to, but they will get you some 3 down. They will bring some pressure off all that. But what I'm very impressed is just the fundamentals of the way they play the game in their interior. Their front 7 on defense is very stout and very strong. Offensively, they're going to pin and pull. They're going to try to use some eye candy. That quarterback we played against, Chance Eben, it seems like we've been playing against him forever. And he's made a lot of plays against us, and he's a thrower and a runner and a throw. Just depends on their scheme. I think they use a lot of misdirection. I think there's we could see a couple different reverses that they run, and we got to stay at home. But they really do a good job in their run scheme of blocking down and then pulling the adjacent lineman and kicking out and getting one more hat with that. And so you got to be right on your fits, and you got to be physical at your fits, and you got to beat them to the point. So we got to play fast, and we got to play assignment sound on defense. Don't give up the big play.
All right, so let's talk about what you're going to handle this trip. We've got about a minute to go here. You're going to take an extra day.
Yeah, we thought that, when I have to set this up back in July or June, I thought that this game is going to mean something somehow. And you never know with the weather. I remember a couple years ago that Western State got stuck in Lusk and the weather and getting up there. And I didn't want a nice 8-hour trip to be 16 hours or whatever. And I wanted to have an opportunity to have some options, right? So we're going to practice our normal time. We're going to load the buses at 6 here tonight, go to Cheyenne, and spend the night, get up, do a little walkthrough, little workout, and then be able to get on the bus and take the kids up to Mount Rushmore. I always thought, I always vowed every year to take a team up there so they can see it. I know my first opportunity seeing Mount Rushmore was with our team the first year that we were able to do that. And some of the kids never seen that. I'd never seen that until I was coaching here. And so I want to do that. It's a tremendous national monument that we need to go and share with our kids. And then we drive over to Spearfish, which is only about 45 minutes from Mount Rushmore. And we're going to go through our routine that night and get up in the morning and hopefully play one last game to get one more game, And so we're looking forward to that opportunity, but it's going to be a challenge up there. It's going to be a really, really tough deal.
All right, we're looking forward. We'll have the ball game for you. Remember, it's a noon kickoff. It's big noon on Fox Sports Pueblo this week. 11:30 pregame show up there from Spearfish. Joe and I will be there to bring you the ball game. Special thanks to everybody here involved, Ryan Howard and everybody at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, and Ardini Brothers, of course, at the Car Pros. Our other buddies. I forgot the swag tonight. We'll bring it next week.
We have the Keg 1 guys, the swag, and the Hutch.
The brothers
guys.
Hutch.
So we'll bring it next week. So next week we'll have some more other stuff to give away. I left it on my couch, John. I apologize for the giveaways. I fumbled the ball.
Ryan Howard and the people at ThunderZone do a great job of taking care of us here.
All right. So join us again on Saturday, 11:30, the pregame show, 12 o'clock kickoff. Aaron Kinnischtzke's in, our producer and engineer tonight of the Car Pros John Wristen Show. Special thanks to Andres Madrid. And, of course, Paul Polinsky, the athletic director at CSU Pueblo. For my partner, Joe Cervi, for the head coach, John Wristen, my name's Jim Brooks. Good night, everybody.
Go Pack.